So, ladies and gentlemen, public representatives, past presidents, officers, members and supporters and players of Kilfeacle and District RFC. It's a serious honour to be here in front of you with a 40-year history of the club. And I know you can say we're around 42 years at this stage, but it takes a while to write things down, lads. Okay? And what you have before you is an incredible piece of history. It's documented forever, right? An example, a recent visiting club to this premises were in existence 80 years. They never had wrote it down. So imagine if no one wrote it down. Just think of it for a minute. 80 years time, 100 years time, what did they do? What do we know about them? Where did they come from? What were they? What did they win? What were the struggles? The story is told. Think of the threads, the beginning, the people, the struggles, the games, the wins, the losses, the pitches, reports, trophies, the newspapers, the events, those that came, those that went, the founder, the second generations, those that achieved more and more, wore green out of here or more red out of here, won awards, the Men's or the Garryowen, the Challenge Cups, the Junior League, All-Ireland Cups, the Seconds All-Ireland, the Under-18 All-Ireland, all those wins and how many more, East Munsters, you know. What this club has done in those years, someone needed to write it down. Now bring it 40 years, right? How do you bring those threads together? How do you produce something like this, right? To craft it into a shape, to bring it to paper, chapters, to give it life and longevity, to knit the threads. We all have the threads, we all have the newspaper articles, we all have the photographs, we all have the memories, we all have the stories, we all have medals and God knows what else. But bring it together, right? Someone wrote it down, okay? I think Michael Dial volunteered to write it down. There's a rumor he was nudged, right? So it's written in his time, right? And to Michael for sticking to the task to actually bring all these threads together, right? And see it through for his enthusiasm as well, which you couldn't do this without enthusiasm, right? Which things could not get down, for his ability, his craftsmanship. Our thanks also to Pius. There's an underage story in this club second to none. And that story couldn't be told without Pius, you know, and our thanks to Pius as well. A big part of what's gone on here, right? And for his hands-on knowledge, and the hands-on knowledge of everyone who's contributed to this book, the articles. Michael tells of having to go to people's houses, but the people gave. And the people gave the threads, and the threads were gathered, and the threads became the story, and the story is what's here in front of you. So to all who contributed, without whom there would be no threads to bind together to make a book, right, our thanks. It's an honour to be here and to be part of this, right, and to Michael as well, our thanks, and a big thanks from the club. So I'm going to hand you over to Michael Fitzgerald, who's kind enough to volunteer to say a few words, right? And Michael himself has taken a big decision in his career, but he's a big part of our story too. So, Michael, I'll leave it to you.
Thanks very much. When he says I'm a big part of our story too, it puts me thinking a little bit, and I'm looking at John Hanley there. Anyway, Mr. President and Chairman and ladies and gentlemen and Deputy Michael Lowry, it is indeed an honour and a privilege to be here this evening at the launch of the club's history of Kilfeacle and District RFC. I have had the advantage, I suppose, of having this book since Thursday, and so it enabled me to have a quick preview of the context, of the contents. And I must say, it is an excellent publication that details in a very concise and informative way the beginning, the success, and the people who have been at the forefront of Kilfeacle RFC since 1981. Founded in 81, you will see that it was certainly not easy to begin with all the barricades and challenges that were put in your way, like the death of such an influential man as Father Michael Lavelle of Rockwell College in 1982, the first president of the club, and what a loss he was as a really great rugby football brain. It was also obvious from the book that the powers that be of the Munster Rugby made you work hard to reach the standards required to be a rugby club. But the names of Coney, Hanley, Corcoran, Woods, Cross, Heaney, Coman, and many others like Donovan's, Keneally, and Hadlett's persevered at that crucial time. And I know I've left names out there, but these were the names that at the start came foremost out of the book. It became very obvious at a very early stage that this was more than a rugby club based in a rural part of West Tipperary. It was a sporting movement that introduced many young people to rugby that before would never have been given that opportunity. This book is a vital reference guide for so many, and especially for generations to come. Michael Doyle, you have done an exceptional job in producing this record of the club's history over 40 years. And I think he deserves a huge round of applause. To everyone involved in the club, I want to sincerely congratulate you on all you have achieved to date. To the officers and coaches, senior and underages, well done to you all. But a special thank you to your ladies who, you know, it comes out so clear in the book as well that right from the start that they were needed to play such an important role. I noticed that 3 ladies have held the position of secretary since your foundation. Carmel Donovan in 1982, Niamh, your daughter, in 2011, and lo and behold, for a whopping 13 years, Michelle Noonan, who Michael Doyle described as the heartbeat of the club, and I'm sure nobody here will disagree with that. You will see, ladies and gentlemen, as you go through this book, I must say it's a great, I've been enthralled with it. I haven't read the whole thing, but I picked it up, left it down, picked it up, left it down, and you will do the same with that when you have it. But you will see as you go through the book many great articles and contributions. But another thing that comes very, very evident through the book is the way you have honoured and respected the people who are no longer here, the people who have passed on, the likes of Johnny Woods. Johnny was brought out in the hearse and looked out over the pitch. You know, what a way to honour a man like that. Ger and Mary Cooney, you know, priceless the stories that are there and the contribution that both of those great people. Dick Corcoran, you know, I could go on. You've honoured Eamon Sherlock tonight, and others like that. Billy Godfrey, you've been there in Guards of Honours. You've been there to show your support to the people that have passed on, and indeed, I suppose I have to mention from down the road, I've no doubt he'd be back there tonight, Moss Morrissey, who you gave the name of, who you honoured by giving him that honour. I just want to go through a little bit, and as I went through it, there is a guide in page 127. You know what I'm coming to know? As to what is required in every position, from full back to loose head prop on a rugby team. It is a brilliant description of all the positions, and I could only think of players I played with as I read this part of the book. For instance, number 1 on any rugby team is a loose head prop. Is that right? This is described as a medium-sized fat fella. Bull-necked, relishes head-to-head, and can get aggressive when someone blocks his way to the bar. Corey, you ran into my head, and and Chris, Jimmy, and I don't know why I thought of you, Jimmy Crow, but he doesn't understand the word fear. But having said that, there's probably a million other words he doesn't understand either. But he's warm and friendly off the pitch. Oh. I'm coming to the hooker. And I'm not going to go through the whole lot, but I'm coming to the hooker. This is a wonderful article, Michael, I must say. I don't know where you got it, but you're apologising in the book for putting this there. A hooker wears number 2. He's a short, fat fella, usually ginger-haired. Too short for prop, too fat for back row, too slow to be a winger. If after a late tackle, which he usually tells the referee when the ref says to him, that was the latest tackle I've ever seen, he would say, he apologises, sorry ref, I couldn't get there any quicker.